I think that we can all agree that light is the most important thing for life as we know it. We would not exist without it. Today, I'm going to share with you how and why I turned my personal computer into arguably the most beautiful and meaningful light of video game history. Now, while my other me is taking measurements in the background to see how small we can get this thing, let me explain. Yep. I'll just do all the work as usual. As I was saying, let me explain why this light is so beautiful to me. To put it into perspective, getting the materials to craft a lantern in Minecraft shouldn't take you more than an hour in real life, and probably a lot less if you're a vet. On the other hand, getting enough materials to craft a lantern in Vintage Story could take you actual days in real life, especially if you're a new player. There is no 2-week phase in Vintage Story like there is in Minecraft. As a new player, you'll be lucky to make it out of your dirt hut in 2 weeks. What he's trying to say is when you get your first lantern in Vintage Story, it's kind of a big deal. That's right, just like your first PC. Here's mine. Other than an SSD failure and modifying the front panel for better airflow, it's been really good for me. But it's been 4 years and it's finally time to upgrade some parts and make a completely custom case. A Vintage Story lantern case. Are you almost done over there? I would like to build this case in 3 main sections. The first section will be the main housing unit for all the components. This is where the motherboard, GPU, PSU will all be fixed in place. It will be completely open to the air, providing easy access on all sides. The next section will be the aesthetic enclosure that slides over and combines with the first section to secure everything together and pretty the whole unit up. The third and final section will be the very top of the lantern. It will lock into the wall with a French cleat/dovetail hybrid mount, providing anchorage. It will also have some dado and rabbet joints for the 2 combined bottom sections to slide into and lock securely. Now that I have some materials broken down, we can now start the layout. I'm gluing and screwing these 3/4 inch plywood strips onto the base to create channels in which the vertical panels will slot into. Firstly, getting my screw holes lined up and then gluing to use the screws as clamping force. I will also mirror this layout for the top, and I will do the first test fit out of what it seemed like 1,000 for this whole project. And now that we have the pieces fitting properly, it's time to mark, drill, and tap for the motherboard standoffs. As per usual, I did a test in the mounting surface to ensure that the standoffs would hold good and strong, and boy oh boy, they sure did. Oh, yes, a little super glue to strengthen the threads, because I have trust issues. Before we can mark off and cut out all the airflow and wire openings, we first must figure out roughly where the GPU and PSU will be mounted. Once I have triple checked everything has been marked off correctly, it's time to grab the jigsaw and roughly cut out all the openings. Oh, and by the way, everything wasn't marked out correctly. You'll see later. So some of those holes I cut out are actually this very nifty anchor system I picked up from MXC Builds. He used 3D printed parts, of course, but since I haven't taken any 3D modeling courses yet, I decided to use little pieces of plywood for now. I didn't file and sand those anchor areas down completely flush with the openings because I want them to bite down a little on the vertical panels to ensure a very secure fit, aka not loose. Shout out to this person though, saving me some serious time with this pre-made PSU mounting system. Go check them out on the Bamboo app. I did have to modify it though in order to get the PSU seated in its final resting place. And I had to modify the structure a bit as well to get the power cable extension fitting comfortably. And this is why test fitting is so important. So I made a quick bracket to hold the power extension cable and then proceeded to glue and cut the top side anchor plates. Unlike the bottom ones that cinch down, these will be sucked upwards so I can have access to the screws once the two main bottom sections are combined. Next, I must measure, mark, and cut out a smaller vertical panel as a mounting area for the CPU radiator. The radiator mount ended up seriously conflicting with the GPU riser cable when I attempted to hook everything up, so I had to make some more modifications to the GPU mounting area, pushing the GPU inwards about an inch. And I figured at this point I could just hook everything up real quick and do a test run, getting the new CPU installed plus all of the drivers, just to make sure all the new components are functioning properly for the final assembly. Time to fix the GPU mount. Firstly, gluing in retainer pieces, secondly, gluing in 1/4 inch risers, and I didn't have to, but I plugged the old mounting holes with dowels. To make sure everything stays flush with the outside, I have to make a box to bring it out to the back, and double check to make sure I can still plug in to all my display ports. I will now situate a small USB hub on the top since I couldn't manage to fit it anywhere else, proceeding to drill a big hole into the top to run the wires and also so that I could have a place to run power buttons out the back of the case. Ripping and chopping more pieces of 9mm plywood, I will glue laminate them and cross-cut them to size to form drawer slide style mounting rails, dado and rabbet joints once again for the win. So it's time to mark off and cut out where all the fans and rear connecting ports are going before tack gluing the corners of the aesthetic enclosure together. I will also mention that I messed up the motherboard position, so I had to dado groove into the rear panel so that it could slide down over everything. Okay, let's quickly glue this up and have us some fun. I'm painting all these panels now because it'll be much easier than trying to do it with all the maple veneer on it later. And now the time I've all been waiting for, refining the lumber, baby. The thing I was born to do. Now this is some tasty ass maple, which you might remember from the opening scene of my last wooden PC build. It was literally still a live tree at that point, and I literally set the scene from behind this maplewood tree. Man, this part never gets old for me. If I had to choose one woodworking task to do for the rest of my life, it would definitely be the thickness planer. Just look at that grain, man. Oh my god. So I need to do a whole bunch of glue lamination here. I need a bottom, and I need a top. The bottom is a simple glue lam with a picture frame trim, and the top is, well, let's just say it's a little more complicated. I'm cutting all these pieces down to 1 5/8 inches, just proud of 1.5 inches, so I can plane one dimension down to glue laminate it, and then I'll do the final thickness pass on the planer. I finally got to put this new planer to the test because the glue lam was 15 inches wide, which is the full capacity of the planer. And this is hard maple we are planing, with a Janka rating of around 1450, which is one of the hardest types of wood we have here in New Brunswick, Canada. It was crazy to see the planer take a whole 1/16 of an inch off in one pass, and it barely was even phased. The old planer would basically crap out at anything above 6 inches wide, forcing me to take micro passes with my micro planer. This was an investment I don't think I'll be regretting. Alright, on to the more fancy and complicated pieces for the top section, and also the over-engineered wall mounting system. Remember when I said the other me was taking measurements to see how small we could get this thing? Well, that was a joke, because this thing gonna be huge and heavy. I was honestly worried that my wall mounting system wouldn't be enough to hold this chunk up in the air. So originally I wanted to point all the ports upwards and route all the wires through a tunnel, but I kind of forgot that I had an ATX motherboard, so I had to completely rework my plans and shoot everything directly out of the back. I would love to do another vintage story lantern PC in the future, except this time with small form factor parts, so I could get it much closer to a reasonable size. So everything went really smooth with the joinery, nothing crazy here, just some dados, tenons, and at some point I'll slam some dowels through both connecting pieces to ensure the parts stay mated. The part that goes against the wall will be glued and screwed from the back, and boy oh boy it's some satisfying when all the parts slide together like that. I'd say that's looking pretty good. It's now time to sand the heck out of the top and bottom and all adjacent parts, so I can ebonize with the old steel and wool vinegar solution, attaching all the parts and applying tung oil where I can for the time being. Tung oil has quickly become one of my favorite finishes, but it does take an inordinate amount of time to dry, so it's a good thing that it's just going up on a wall to stay. And oh my god, the smell is quite intoxicating in my opinion. I will repeat this process for the top minus the tung oil because I still need to attach the mounting system to the top, but we might as well get the rails in now on the underside. Time to start gluing the whole mounting system together in preparation for the big final glue up. I then grabbed some really nice pieces of gray maple and proceeded to make some dowels. This way, they'll really stand out once finished. And oh yes, this is probably my least favorite part of the whole build. It's not hideous, but I could have done better, but I really needed a place to inlay a piece of metal so I could attach the magnetic Wi-Fi antenna coming from the computer. Long story short, it worked out and it's not that noticeable. Time to get the top all finished up and ready for a test fit. I wasn't just going to trust the glue. After the glue, I drove 4 3.5-inch structural screws up from underneath. Can't be too safe. With a bit of paste wax on all the moving parts, we can be sure that everything will slide smoothly while also still being snug. We'll lay the tung oil to the top and also use some weld bond glue to adhere the metal plate to the wood. The test fit proved a little tight, so I had to shave it down a bit. I'm going to use 2 different types of mesh, one with bigger openings for the front exhaust fans, and traditional 0.08mm PC mesh. And unlike my last wooden PC build, I wanted this mesh to be easily replaceable in case of damage, because it was my least favorite part of that whole build, and I want it to improve in at least one area. And of course, I had to bring the crew out and get everyone's approval. Long story short, they loved it. Let's get those corner pieces glued in and then keep cutting. The mesh needs about 3/16 of an inch, so that means I need to rabbet a little groove all the way around each side, minus the top because that's where the mesh will slide in. So that means the same thickness minus 3/16. And the same goes for the fancy design features. Now, this is where I was slightly disappointed with myself because I had to veer off the original lantern design, and I did it for a couple reasons. Number 1, airflow. I didn't want any unnecessary obstructions getting in the way of my precious airflow, and number 2, it was just plain easier. And at this point in the project, I'm starting to get pretty burnt out, and I really just want to get to the editor to finish this video, and I can't do that without my computer. You see my dilemma? Alright, I'm starting to get pretty excited because we are only a few steps away from actually building the computer and slapping it up on the wall. I honestly thought getting the tung oil in all the nooks and crannies was going to be a pain, but I found these special Q-tips that are very firm with a pointed end and a flat disc shaped end as well. So I was actually able to reach all those hard to get places really easily. You don't need 2 people to do this. You could just measure the gap and slide it in like a dovetail joint, but this was easier and I was able to position things so the French cleats really bit down on the dovetail. Shout out to Mama Bear for assisting me. Not once, but twice. This was just a test fit, but she helped me for a second time later on in my studio. Oh my god, it worked. It worked. Yes! I can't believe it. I'm so stoked right now. I mean, there's still more weight to go in here, but that's the majority of it. And it's not even like, it's not drooping at all. It is not drooping one little bit. Time to get the rest of the mesh cut and a smaller piece super glued on the back. Also, some fan prep because I don't want any black or shiny stickers showing. Sorry Thermaltake, but I want everything to blend into the finished look. They are really nice high quality fans though. In retrospective, I wouldn't mount the fans like this in the future to the enclosure because it was really difficult to hook all the fans into the hub. Not impossible, just difficult. I'm going to shut up now and let you guys enjoy the final assembly, but I quickly wanted to thank Tyron and his team for crafting such an amazing experience. It's going to stick with me for the rest of my life. I'm slightly obsessed, if you couldn't tell. I'd also like to give a huge shout out to Kurazar, for without him and his legendary guide series, I probably wouldn't be making this video right now. If you're having a hard time getting into the game because it's just a little bit overwhelming, he will break it down for you and make you realize that it's really not that hard, and it's actually 1000% worth your time. The last shout out goes to MXC Builds. I wouldn't be building wooden computers if it wasn't for him. He's on a level I can only hope to achieve someday. All of you guys created this video just as much as I did, and I am forever grateful for the inspiration.